February last month, we started our 8th season. Yeah. So we've been running these tours for 7 years now. It is a different kind of a tour, definitely. How I explained to you, we decided to make our tours a bit shorter, like 1.5 hours, because after like 2 years of running 2-hour tours, we noticed that the attention span of modern day people is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And now it's like 1.5 hours seems sometimes too much for you as well. So we're like, okay, what should we do? But 1.5 hours is like the golden way for us. We will loop around the lower old town, and we will finish up in the town hall square in the sunshine. And after the tour, you won't be lost. So easy. After the tour, if there are any questions that I don't know the answers to, you know what, I will send you here. So from there to here, it's really short ways. So after the tour, nobody will be lost. Managing expectations here. I will do a hat trick at the end of the show, yeah? So you will know. Free tour means you're free to leave behind whatever you want. Easy as that. But the more you're going to give, the better you're going to feel. So, Ivar is my real name, but in this outfit I go by the name Wilhelm Weltwanderer. I got this name actually at this medieval restaurant called Old Hansa. So me and my 2 other friends who run these tours, we used to work at this medieval restaurant, Old Hansa. But we were getting like closer to our 30s. I personally speak 5 languages, I have like a university degree, and I felt like kind of a pressure from my family. I was still waitering tables. So the idea was like, okay, let's take the quality of Old Hansa into the streets, because it turned out that one of the most well-preserved medieval towns didn't have a proper medieval tour. So the idea was born, you know, let's start doing it. So we started off, we didn't know what we were getting into, but the first year was rocky. We were like producing basically the show, you know, what kind of jokes to use, what kind of not, how the show will look like. And by the end of the first year, in those days TripAdvisor was really important. We already became #1 on TripAdvisor, and now my teammates who are online always checking reviews and stuff, they told us that last year freetour.com voted us to be the 2nd best free tour in the world. So obviously, it is a different kind of a tour, and we will have great time today. So that's a promise too. I'm not here to fill your heads with dates and numbers, because people tend to forget those names and numbers. So we looked into storytelling, and turns out people remember stories. So it doesn't matter to me if you forget the first conqueror's name or what year it was, but I want to pass on you the storyline. So it would be a coherent story. So by the end of the tour, when you go home, you can tell that, yeah, I know what happened in Tallinn. I know how it came to be, that this one of the most well-preserved medieval towns is located in the Baltic, by the Baltic Sea. Lovely. And my medieval name, Wilhelm Weltwanderer, is a German name. Do we have any Germans amongst us today? That's so weird, you know? For 7 years, like every show I have like Germans, and for the past 3 tours I don't have any Germans. Like I don't know what's going on. Like they're usually all like...
My parents are German, but I was born in Brazil.
Gotcha.
Kind of, yeah.
Almost. You made it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you would know why I have a German medieval name, yeah? So when the Crusades came here, they Christianized the Estonians, once free people, yeah, those pagan Estonians, and they were turned now into peasants, and they're working in the fields for the nobility. But one day those Estonians heard that if they moved to this town for 1 year and one day they would become citizens of this place, free people one more time. So they can use their own talents for their own good, not only for the good of the nobility. And in no time, 2/3 of this town's population are actually Estonians. But Ivar becomes Wilhelm, and on the official level they would be speaking German. But in between each other, we always spoke Estonian. That is the only way our language and culture survived. So it's pretty much German heritage that we're about to cover here today, but keep in mind, in all of those stories, 2/3 of this town's population are actually Estonians. But my friends, you don't have to worry about it. I'm the professional here. I have to guide you through, and by the end of the tour, you will actually understand what was going on here. What were the dynamics of this lovely place. So while we stand here, I will add value to this town, and then we will go into this whole experience of storytelling. Yep. So everybody knows Second World War was horrible. Most European capitals got destroyed, but it turns out that we were really lucky. Only 10% of the old town got destroyed. So if you look at that house there, my friends, and this one behind your back, you can forget about it. Yeah. So no historical value. The biggest destruction that this old town received was actually in this area. And do you see those small square stones on the ground? Actually, you stand on them as well. Yeah. They go all the way that way, and they go that way as well. So these small square stones, these represent old medieval buildings that used to stand here. The rest that we're about to see today has been standing here from the very beginning. Even though those houses don't look too old, they look quite fresh, but we have to keep them fresh, or else nobody would visit us. But the stones for the foundations and walls have been standing here for centuries. So one of the most well-preserved medieval towns in the world. And I will point out now the hero to our town. This is the best location, so you would see him up there in the sky. Do you see there is a golden ball? And on top of the golden ball there stands a man with a flag. So that is old Thomas, a true hero to our town, actual historical character. So his story is the story that every Estonian knows, and he was a hero back when he lived, and he is a modern day hero as well. So let me explain, yeah? So big destruction was happening here, and one of those iron birds was aiming towards our town hall, yeah? But Thomas, being a true hero, he stood still, he caught the bomb for himself, exploded, and saved the town hall. So this is Thomas the Third. The first one rusted away, the second one exploded, and now he is the true hero to our town. And by the way, his story will be the grande finale of our walk around the town today. But I have only one condition with that story. You will have to remember his name. Thomas. Yeah, very good. Lovely. So storytelling as a science. We looked into it throughout the whole tour. I can use different storytelling techniques in order to make sure that this tour will be memorable for you. Lovely. So, Weltwanderer means the traveler of the world. And I'm always curious who is visiting us today. So, I promise you, no long interviews. I will just quickly establish where you're from, and then I move on. Maybe a joke or two, and then I move on, yeah? Is that all right with you? Perfect. Where you're from?
Lithuania.
Oh. By the way, people tend to feel with this tour that the Estonians were the very last pagans of Europe, but they were not. The Lithuanians were the very last pagans of Europe. So welcome on board. Lovely. Lovely family. Where you're from?
Norway.
Norway. Welcome. Welcome on board. You lady?
New York.
New York. Welcome on board. The Netherlands?
Spain.
Spain. Bienvenidos. The three of you. No, okay, Spain. And you're from? Taiwan. Welcome on board. Lovely.
Poland.
Poland.
India.
India. Welcome on board. The back row.
Turtle.
Oh, local guy. Pressure on me. I have to impress those locals. Teenagers and locals, the toughest crowd ever. Welcome aboard. You all travel together. India, lovely. Welcome aboard.
Brazil.
Brazil, maybe the France, bienvenue.
Italy.
Italy, Brazil, Mexico, bienvenidos.
England.
England, welcome aboard.
From America.
Welcome. Both are you travel together? Which state?
Missouri.
Missouri. Never been there. Although I have done 27 other states. It's lovely. And you? Gotcha. Lovely. So, did I miss somebody? No. So, we have this tradition before every tour. We leave our everyday worries behind. Yeah. So, the thing is, it is a storytelling adventure. We have to be like those small boys and girls. And sometimes we have to use our imagination to get into the story. So we have this tradition, we play along, yeah? We leave our everyday worries behind. We think about those things that could distract us. Missed phone calls, unreplied emails, whatever is going on in your life. So play along, please. Let us think about those things that could distract you in the next 1.5 hours. So whatever is going on in your life, pull those thoughts to your head. And now I kindly ask everybody to raise their right hand. It's a live show, we all have to do it. Yeah. We will put our fingers like this. Now we will put those fingers to our foreheads. We will pull those thoughts out and throw them behind our backs. Just go there. 1.5 hours and same capable hands. You don't have to worry about anything. So, what do you think? That was the whole intro. Are we ready for this experience?
Yeah.
Alrighty. I will squeeze through here. I invite everybody to follow me. Sunniest day in the last, I don't know, 6 months. Starting locations. This is my stage. This is for the audience. They're spread out like this so my voice could travel like in one direction. Lovely. My dear guests, the intro will be the longest. It will take us 7-8 minutes. Can we handle in one location 7-8 minutes? Yeah. You see, intros are the most important. Like every great story, like good movies, yeah. They start off with world building. You create the world, you get to know the heroes, the anti-heroes, and then you dive into this whole experience. So this is what will happen now. We will learn how to pause time, we become present, we get into this storytelling mood, and then in our own mind's eye, we will create this medieval world that we're about to explore together. Is that alright with you? Yeah. So for that, I kindly ask everybody to close your eyes. So with your eyes closed, let us take a deep breath in through the nose. And let us exhale through the mouth. One more time, a deep breath in through the nose and a slow exhalation through the mouth. And the third round, a deep breath in through the nose. And now keep the exhalation the slowest you can. With your eyes closed, continue breathing in your own pace. It's not a competition. Let us turn on our imagination and let us imagine European history. To be more precise, medieval European history. And honestly, we don't know much about it, but one thing is true, that the ruling power is the Catholic Church. The Pope is the most important man. He decides who can be king and who can't be king. And he really enjoys his position until the day he hears rumors that there are still pagans around in Europe, especially here in the north. Those blonde-haired and blue-eyed boys, the Pope doesn't like it at all, and he calls upon a crusade to come and Christianize those pagans. So the Germans and the Danes, they hear the cry of the Pope and they decide to help him out. And both powers know that these lands here are the shortest way to the eastern riches. So now they're racing each other. Who will claim these lands first? The Germans. They decided to come on foot and conquer everything along the way. And the moment the Danish king hears about it, he knows that he has to be clever. He needs to use a shortcut, the Baltic Sea. So he gathers together an army of 5,000 men. He has a fleet of 150 ships, and he starts sailing towards these unknown lands. And my dear guests, please imagine you're one of those soldiers, sailing together with brave King Valdemar II. For weeks you're sailing, you're getting hungry, you're getting tired, and the only thing you desire to see is a tiny stretch of land in the horizon. And one beautiful day, land starts appearing, you see a coastline, and on that coastline there is a big, big hill. My dear guests, please open your eyes. So I truly hope everybody got a bit more into the storytelling mood. You were able to turn on your imagination. Obviously the coastline you created, this is our coastline, and it turns out that this big, big hill you created is not that big, yeah? That is the hill behind my back. Toompea Hill. And when those 5,000 soldiers arrive here, on top of that hill there were no fancy buildings, there was only one small wooden fort that pagan Estonians would be using during summertime to trade with the passing by Vikings. And usually we have 5 up to 10 Estonians up there, and suddenly 5,000 Danes are approaching. So I have a question now. What do you think, those brave pagan Estonians? Did they wait for the Danes to arrive, or they ran away? They ran away. They're not so brave. They left the fort empty. And the moment the Danes enter the fort, they see it's empty, and they consider this to be a sign of God. This is how easy it is to come and Christianize those pagans, and the Danes start doing this one appropriate thing. The Danes start celebrating. But it turns out that those pagan Estonians, they didn't run away just like that. They ran into surrounding forests, gathered reinforcements, and now they have an army of 1,000 pagans observing those celebrating Danes. And on the third day, when the Danes are really tired of celebrating and they're crawling on the fours, this is the moment those pagan Estonians strike back. And a fierce fight begins between the Danes and Estonians. So, the Danes are in deep trouble now. Estonians are really fierce, they're basically Vikings themselves. so you would know, to be a Viking is not to be a part of a nationality. It's not like Norwegians, well, all Vikings. To be a Viking is like this winter job basically for this season. During summertime they grow food, wintertime no food is growing, they go and murder. So that is typical for this whole region. So the Danes are in deep trouble now. One clan after another is falling. Those Estonians are almost reaching the king, and the king knows in order for him to be successful he needs divine intervention. And according to the stories, in that moment the brave King Valdemar II starts praying to heavens. And according to the stories, in that moment, a red flag with a white cross on it falls from the skies. The oldest national flag in the world, Dannebrog is called, the national flag of the Danes. They got it here with this battle. And this sign of God gave those Danes so much power that they kicked back those pagan Estonians. The king has been victorious, and this marks the beginning of European history of these lands in 1219 in June. A couple of years later though, somebody else arrived here. Who was on its way as well? The Germans. And the moment the Germans arrived there, they said, oh no, somebody's building a castle up there. There's a flag waving, and they're realizing, oh no, it's the Danes. And now the Germans know that they're missing out on the sweet spot of these lands. They can't fight the Danes. They represent the same power. So instead of using the muscles, the Germans will have to use the brains. They will have to make a proposition to the king that he can't refuse. And the Germans know that all true kings have to love this one thing the most. What do you think? What do medieval kings love the most? Money, gold, of course. So the proposition is straightforward. Hey Valdemar, you know what? We will send our soldiers back to Germany, and instead we will send you 200 peaceful Hanse merchants. They won't climb on top of a hill, they will make a settlement down below, and you, as the king, you can tax those merchants as heavily as you please. So the Germans are offering a whole city just serving the king, and he loves the idea. He agrees, and in 1230 the very first Hanse merchants from Germany, Westphalen, arrive at this location. The heroes of our story. And the first thing those merchants built is this church. This church is dedicated to Saint Nicholas. And as we all know, all patron saints, they protect somebody. So does he. So in 1230, Saint Nicholas is the patron saint of archers, sailors, and travelers, merchants. No, you're all wrong. It's a trick question, don't feel bad, yeah? So, in 1230, Saint Nicholas is the patron saint of thieves. To profit in the eyes of the Catholic Church in those days is regarded to be immoral. It turns out that the heroes of our story have a really bad reputation. Nobody liked those merchants. So when something went wrong, you would always blame a merchant. When your knee hurts, you blame a merchant. When something goes wrong in a town, we would chase away those merchants because probably God is punishing us for their immorality. And in 1230, the merchants had such a bad reputation that if you would have killed a merchant, no law would have held you responsible. But if you would have killed a dog, and this dog had a noble owner, you would definitely get your punishment. So this is the bad reputation what the merchants have. They don't like it, and they have high expectations when they reach these lands, because these lands are far away from the Catholics. Maybe people up north won't hate us so much that we can build a city, have a wall around it, and the city will start granting freedom to the citizens. Whew. That was the whole intro, my dear guests. We survived 7 minutes. So this is the story I will share today with you, yeah? About those remarkable Hanse merchants, the founders of this town, what kind of adventures and obstacles they had while they created this lovely place. So an honest question, everybody, is this the kind of a story you would like to hear?
Yeah.
I believe you, I believe you. The rest of you, is this the kind of a story you would like to hear?
Yes.
Getting there. No worries, I will get you. So, while we walk around, very important thing to notice is that the whole old town is pedestrian area. We are the most important people here. And sometimes we will walk in the middle of the street there. And when you hear a funny looking horse, a car behind your back, so the thing is, the way it works, instead of looking at this car with fear in your eyes and start running around, you stand your ground. You look at me, you will see the confidence in my eyes. Like 70% of the tour I'm walking backwards anyways, I'm observing everything. and we are polite people, and when we decide to let this car pass us, no worries, I'll be the Moses, split the people into half, we will let this horse through, and who knows, maybe we will see a smiling Estonian, you never know. It might happen. So, but I guess, are you ready? Yes. Perfect. So let's climb up this small hill to follow me. So let us be mindful, two lovely ladies are passing by. Don't be scared, they're really friendly. This summer our tours got somehow really famous. And we started getting groups of like 30, 50 people. And with large groups, we tend to clog up the whole street. So I noticed that we're getting a lot of frowning faces when we walk down the streets. So I turned it around and I started micromanaging the guests, and we became like really polite, really mindful. And then we turned all those frowns into smiles. Yeah, people would help other people out in the streets, and they really liked it.
Clever.
Clever, yeah. Yeah. The idea of this tour is to add value to the streets as well, not only to the guests who attend this tour, but we will be this happy bunch walking around here, learning along the way as well. Yeah, we have a great turnout today. I would say like 15, 20 people. Yeah, it's the sun. Lovely. Lovely. So, but I guess, just to make sure everybody knows where we're located on the map, yeah, later you need it. We started in front of the Tourist Information Center, you will always find that place. And from there, through here, this is the shortest way to the Upper Old Town. Believe it or not, but until 1920, we used to have two separate towns there, yeah? Toompea for the nobility, Reval for those merchants. And until 1920, we even used to close the gates in between those two towns. Who closed the gates? The nobles or the merchants? No, the merchants. The second and last question on the show. So, one more time, before we get into this experience that we're all going to have, it is rather important that I establish this one thing that modern day people tend to not to comprehend too well, yeah? So before those merchants, European society was straightforward. It consisted of three classes. The most important were the clergy, the church, the pope, yeah? Then the nobility, kings and queens, and then 90% of people, peasants, serving those first two classes. Merchants are not part of that equation. It is rather important we understand at the beginning of the tour that in those days merchants are not part of society, they're the outcast of the society. Remember, they don't have any rights, but they are needed to move goods around because there's still vandals and barbarians around. Everybody is afraid of those, but those merchants are not. So they move goods around, they earn good money, and at some point they're able to afford their own cities. The problem here is that them being so close by, they would come to our town, get this in their head, and then they would cause a lot of trouble. We can't punish them, remember? No rights here, yeah? So in order to avoid this trouble, when we build our own city wall, later you will notice both cities have independent city walls, yeah? We are putting in gates. And every night at 9 o'clock, the brotherhoods of the blackheads, they will close the gates in between those two towns, yeah? And you know what's the irony of this whole story? In the 1600s, yeah, the upper grounds mostly burned down, and the only authentic thing remaining is that little gate. So when you go through here, you will see the original gate that has been standing in between those two towns. So, but we will stay here in the footsteps of those glorious Hanse merchants. The next story and the worst joke of this whole tour is just around the corner. So do follow me, let us go and find out what it is. Yeah, I put on today my summer shoes. It feels so light. It's like, it feels like I'm missing something. Like we have like winter boots that are really heavy. everybody, we will squeeze to this side. I don't know what to go to it. Let's wait. Let's do a couple of steps back. Yeah, that's but if it smiles on our faces, we take off the pressure and the quicker they go away. If we put pressure on, then they're like, oh no. So, this is my stage for the next story. Let us come everybody a bit closer. Lovely. So, I promised you the worst joke of this whole tour. Would you like to hear it? It's really bad, I warn you. So, are you sure?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, here it comes. Well. What do we have here? What is it? It is a well, exactly. And whenever I have locals on the tour, I would always ask them, what is the name of this well?
I don't know.
Now look around a bit. Yeah, Rataskaev. This is what those Estonians always tell me. Rataskaev, the real well, but they're wrong every single time because the street is called like this. And this is why people think it's like the real well. But the historical name of this well, the actual name of this well, is actually the cat's well. Meow, yeah? And the reason for it is quite simple. When those merchants first arrive here, they start building this church. This is the PR project. They want the Catholics to accept that, so they would be part of the society as well. But at the same time, those merchants know that for a settlement, they need a reliable source of drinking water. So probably when some folks up there are building a church, some folks down below here are digging a hole, and they're really excited when they finally hit the source of water until they had the first zip. Because after the first zip, the taste was so awful that those merchants are realizing, oh no, this water in this well will be unhealthy. And now those merchants have a problem. Without the reliable source of drinking water, you can't have a settlement. And the nobility, they would never give water from their wells. So we better find a way how to improve the water quality in this well. And luckily for those merchants, they didn't travel here alone. They traveled here together with Dominican monks. And they are already building their own monastery down there. And those monks, they have to be clever people. You see, they have fat books and writing quills. Yeah, they know how to read and write. So we went to those monks to find a solution for a drinking problem. And the moment they hear about it, they send us to a brother called Albert, the smartest monk of them all. And Albert, he sends us merchants into the streets. He tells us, go around and look for a couple of cats. Catch them, look them deep in the eyes. And my dear guests, don't get me wrong now, I love cats, I have one at home as well. But this is history. This is what Brother Albert told us merchants. He told us, throw in a cat or two, and that will most certainly improve the water quality. Come a bit closer. There's a horse doing a maneuver there. So, what do you think? What do you think? Cats improve water quality or not? No. Of course not. Sadly, those merchants didn't realize it straight away. Only a week later and several cats later, now the smell is pretty obvious. And now those merchants have realized that they have ruined the source of water totally. They put a lid on top of it, and ever since, no one dares to have a sip of water from this well, and hence the name the cat's well. But the problem is still there. Those merchants need to drink something in this town, don't they? Huh? Luckily, not too far away from here flows a river. Actually, this river flows even nowadays, but the city has grown so big that it flows underneath the city. And those merchants, they start carrying into town river water on the shoulders in big buckets. But the problem with river water is that on the second or third day, it starts turning green and slimy. And this doesn't feel healthy at all as well. So those merchants are forced to carry into town basically every day new supply of water. Does this sound like freedom to you? Sounds like hard work, doesn't it? So this is not what those merchants had in mind when they're about to build the city. So they have a new problem now. They need to find a way how to preserve river water at least for 1 week. And would you guess it? They went back to those Dominican monks. No more Brother Albert, but the other monks as well. And this time, those monks gave us a reasonable solution that actually worked. So this time, the monks told us, if you want to enjoy river water 1 week later, you will have to take it and turn it into
Beer.
Beer, the wine of the north. So the monks told us, stop brewing beer. In the process, you will make it so that you can enjoy river water 1 week later as well. And honestly, I think that is one of the greatest ideas the monks had. In those days, by the way, even kids are drinking beer. Yeah. So this is how common it is. It's like the lifeline of this medieval town. And soon enough, the local monks noticed that pagan Estonians, that they loved the taste of beer way more than the taste of red wine that traveled long distances and usually turned foul along the way. So the local monks, they decide, you know what, let's start using beer instead. So they start using beer in the church, and I have to be honest now with you, I'm pretty sure that that was the greatest idea the monks had. It wasn't Latin preaching that attracted those Estonians to the church, it was the free beer that was handed out. And now we have a line of pagans behind our doors waiting to get inside, and the monks, they feel really proud of themselves. Missionary work going at its finest, and they decide to write a letter to the Holy Pope to let him know how good of a missionary job they're doing up north. So I have a question now. What do you think? When the Pope heard the news, what is happening here? Was he happy about it or not so happy?
Happy.
Happy? No. He was furious. But why? Pagans go voluntarily to the church, but the Pope is not happy about it.
Because they're drinking beer.
They're drinking beer. You're on the right path. What is going on? Okay. It's my 8th season now starting, yeah? So I know. I've been around. It's not my first rodeo. So I have leading questions. My first leading question would be, do we have any Catholics amongst us today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Practicing or...
It doesn't matter. So my next leading question probably will bring it to the right path. And what is red wine for the Catholics?
The blood of Christ.
The blood of Christ. And the Pope was furious. How dare them? Yeah, use beer instead of Jesus' blood. And he decides to ban beer to all brothers and sisters. On my German tours, the reaction now would be, oh nine. Because it's quite complicated to imagine nowadays world without beer. It's even more complicated to imagine medieval times without beer. And the local monks up north here, those Dominicans, they have realized that without beer, missionary work would be lost. Those Estonians are so used to this taste, so we better sit down, think long and wise why the Pope is against beer. So it took them a while, and then they came to this conclusion that the Pope, probably he's against beer only because he has never tried decent beer in his life. So knowing the fact, the local monks, they decide to brew the best batch ever. In a wooden barrel, they would send it all the way to Italy. It would take 3 months to cross the Swiss Alps. So here we are, medieval times, wooden barrel, beer, traveling for 3 months during summertime. You know where I'm heading with this one, yeah? So my guess is that the contents of the barrel that arrived at the Pope's was probably worse than the contents of this well. And the first zip the Pope takes is so disgusting that he needs to spit it out straight away, and now he's confused. He thought that these brothers wanted to convince me that beer is a worthy drink compared to red wine, but at this moment it feels like they want to poison me. So the one who sits down, thinks long and wise about the hidden message is the Pope himself. He needs to understand what is going on here, and luckily for humankind, here comes the twist of irony. So soon enough, the Pope realized that the monks, they must be telling me that for true Catholic people, yeah, so you would know, Catholics, they're very strict people, and they have this strong belief that in this earthly life, suffering is something that always brings you closer to God. So the Pope reckoned if those monks want to torment those pagans with a foul drink like that, let them go on with that, because that will bring them closer to God. That is the story how we kept the right to continue brewing beer in this town, by the way. Yeah, and the same story happened twice, couple of 100 years later in Germany, Bavaria as well. Different reasons. Wine was too expensive, so they go for cheaper beer, yeah. But anyways, that has happened twice. Did you like this story?
Yes.
Very good. Every time we like a story, we do a small exercise now. But I guess, whoever liked the story, let's raise our left hand. Now the right hand. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose. Let's clap away. But again, never forget how many there are of you and how many there is of me. The more confident I'm here on this stage, the better these stories will be. It's a promise. Smiles, clapping, everything helps. So, before we proceed, every tour I have people who are really into history, yeah? And those people have probably a couple of question marks in their minds at the moment from those first 2 stories. So let me address those question marks and then we continue, yeah? The first story, God doesn't throw any flags from the sky. Yeah, it's a beautiful story to teach children in Denmark, and I had to pass it on to you as well, so you know that version of it. That's what they teach in schools. Historically, what actually happened when Valdemar II was coming to conquer these lands, along the way he would hire different tribes to join his army. And one of the tribes was not allowed to party up on the hill, they were behind the hill. And when they saw that the king is in trouble, they jumped on their horses and with banners in their hands, they came to rescue and they brought the flag to the battlefield. So that is the historical version of the story. The second story with the cats, well, so we have a hole here, we have ruined water. Would you build a fancy well on top of it? They filled the hole. Only in the 1980s, we built here a monument at the location where it happened, so I would have the opportunity to share the story with you. The rest of the tour will be historically correct. Yeah. Lovely. So, my local friend, do you know what's the medieval name of this town?
Rewal.
Reval. Yeah. So Reval. Everybody knows modern day name is Tallinn, medieval name would be Reval. Does anybody know what Reval means? Perfect. I still have some purpose here. So the name was designed only 2 minutes away from here. Do follow me. Let us go and find out what it means. After the tour, I get a lot of questions about food recommendations. So my number one food recommendation is that locals don't eat in the town hall square. You know what happens with those town halls? Yeah, we don't eat there. But if you want to have something decent in the old town, this street is a good guess. Just behind the town hall, Rataskaev, yeah? So Rataskaev 16 is probably the best restaurant in the whole old town. Yeah. Today is Saturday, maybe you need to book something. But all the stuff here. So, we have an opportunity for a Moses. This is how we do it. You take your time, you're on holidays, with smiles on our faces, we will let them pass. And he probably smiled with his heart. Yeah. By the way, every smiling Estonian counts as 2 points. And when you go to Finland, it's 3 points. Yeah. Whoever has been there, they know about it. Now, we will do one more Moses here. Let me do one more Moses here. Lovely, huh? Hey. So you would know these people live and work here, they know about us already. But the first year was horrible, they even called the police on our show. Drunk people are guiding around. So my friends, on the left hand side we will climb up those stairs. So we walk and start moving over this side. We will go to this side. Spring is here, it's so freaking nice. Yeah, last tour I had, it was like, you know, slushy and snow. But now it's like, you can see all the things. By the way, our tour made this location quite famous. The next story. It turns out the Estonians have forgotten this next story, one of the origin stories as well. And because we attracted so much attention to this place, you know, they even put stones here on the ground. Now they have benches and stuff, so they tidied it up. It was like, you know, this hidden corner where you don't want to go, you know, it's like dark and shady was, but now it's like a proper park. And obviously the next story is our favorite story. We have even made a small movie about it. when you forget this story, it's 5 minutes long. You ask on YouTube how Tallinn got its medieval name, then you will get this story. You can share it to your friends as well. But we are here to experience it live. Yeah? And for me to tell the next story, I would need now the help of 2 volunteers. One lovely lady, one handsome gentleman. So who woke up this morning and thought it would be amazing to perform in front of strangers? Hey, Milord, you come to my right hand side. What is your name?
Baptiste. Baptiste.
Baptiste. Baptiste. Everybody, a round of applause to Master Baptiste. Would you like to volunteer? Hey, you come to my left hand side then. Baptiste and
Tiziana.
Tiziana. Baptiste, Tiziana. Everybody, Tiziana, Baptiste, a round of applause. So, storytelling as a science, yeah? It turns out when I'm here telling those stories, your brain goes after a couple of stories into sleep mode, yeah? You're just observing this one character. Now I'm breaking it, yeah? So now I have somebody from the audience here on the stage, your brain gets alert one more time, yeah? So nothing scary will happen. I will tell the story, you will help me out a little bit, yeah? Along the way, I will hand you your roles. All you do is some body postures, facial expressions, and I'm here narrating everything. So I'm here together with you, and they love you anyways because they don't have to be on the stage, yeah? So, Baptiste, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Tiziana?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Tiziani, Baptiste, lovely audience, are you ready? Yes! So, for us to find out what the true name of Tallinn, Reval, actually means, we will have to travel back in time once again, to the very beginning, to 1219, when the brave, courageous, handsome, good-looking King Valdemar II arrives. But this you're not the king. Tiziani will be the king. And with this title comes a fancy hat as well.
My.
So the year is 1219 and the King Valdemar II has arrived. So Tiziani, you're the king now, yeah? I'm breaking stereotypes. Your role is still out there. You will be the hero, by the way. But for you now, yeah? You, as the king, you have conquered the wooden fort on top of Toompea hill. So, your 5,000 soldiers, they had a proper fight there, and after a battle, how would you reward your soldiers? What would you give them after a battle?
Beer.
Beer, this is what we learned, beer, of course. Party. Only beer, party, or something, so we have, okay. I'm aiming, after a battle, we have the drinks. Would you need something else as well? Food, of course. So now we have a medieval party with lots of drinks and lots of food. How do you call such a party with one word? Ah?
Feast.
Feast, exactly. So Tiziana, you decide to organize a feast. And the king is a hunter at heart. And he wants to make sure that he catches the main course for the feast itself. And Tiziana, you go on a hunt now, yeah?
Okay.
But does a king hunt on foot or he uses something for it?
A horse.
Of course, a horse. But there's no worries, you're not the, no, you're not the horse. The horse is still out there. It's just an imaginary horse, but it's neither. Yeah, you still have to jump on it. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have this imaginary horse. You're exploring the newly conquered areas. You don't clap for the horse. Yeah. So, Tiziana, you look to the left. You look to the right. And suddenly the king comes to a stop. Because you, as the king, you hear some rustling in the bushes. Yeah. You're not the bush either. There's something in the bushes. They're getting closer now. Yeah, but this. So what could be there? Could it be the counterattack of those pagan Estonians?
No.
No, said the king. Could it be an evil spirit lurking in those bushes? Or could it be the wife of the king, because the king has been away for 2 years? 2 years. It's a long time, isn't it?
Long time.
Yeah, but luckily for the king, it wasn't. Luckily for the king, in the bushes is the hero of our story, a beautiful, agile deer. So, but I will explain your role.
Okay.
It's rather simple. You make a pair of ears like this, yeah?
Okay.
When you're curious, your ears are up like this, but when you're scared, your ears go down.
Okay.
Try it, yeah, it's curious, scared, curious, scared, curious. Keep it. So, the deer sees the king sees the deer, and they stare at each other like lovers in full moon. Until the deer runs away, yeah? And now pay attention. We won't do a wild chase, we will do a slow-mo loop here, and you will come back to a starting position, you chase him like this, and you come back to your starting position. Are you ready? Are you ready?
He says slow-mo.
Yeah. So a wild chase begins now, and the deer runs away. then they run and they run around. They run and they run around. Until you come back to the starting position and now stop. But this pay attention, you're still there. Now you have to pay attention. You have reached that edge of a cliff. You look down below, it's pretty steep. You know now that you have only two options. Either to be slaughtered by the hand of a nobleman or to take a leap of faith and claim his own freedom. So, king of freedom.
Freedom.
Go ahead.
Freedom.
Go ahead. And the deer. Jump. But please come back to the stage. You passed away though, so you can put your ears down now. But stay on stage, yeah? Your role is done.
Okay.
But yours is
Great.
not. So you as the king, you approach the same edge of a cliff. You look down below with amazement on your face. That even wildlife resisted you. And the king is so impressed by this act that he decides to name these lands down below after the very same event. He names these lands down below Reval, consisting of two old Germanic words. Re, meaning a deer, and val, to fall. So lovely guests, Reval, the original name of Tallinn, means nothing more and nothing less than the fall of a deer. Let's bow. So this is how we make history memorable. Yeah? How was the performance? Hey. Shall I report them? Shall I? Yeah, sure. Here I have something very special, all the way from the city walls. Here I have a copy of the actual money we had in this town in the medieval times. Hey, it's only a copy. If you want the original, it's in the museum and I have nothing to do with it. Yeah, thank you. Well done. Good job. So, let's recap a little bit, yeah? 1219, the king arrives here. He claims these lands, he names this land. Then those heroes of our story, those merchants arrived here. Remember, outcasts of the society. And they start building the church, they find the solution for the drinking problem, or they just started one, you never know, yeah? And this town starts booming. So get into this mindset. In those days, in Western Europe, merchants are hated. And suddenly those Western merchants hear that so far away from the Catholics, up north, there is a city being built by the merchants for the merchants. And they all got excited. Maybe it's possible that up north people won't hate us so much. So many adventurous merchants, they sold off whatever they have at home and they venture out here. And this town starts booming. One house after another gets built. And at some point, those merchants of Reval are doing so well that they decide that it's about time. It's about time to build the tallest towers of all Europe until the Eiffel Tower gets built. It is so tall that you can't see it from here. But we will go and pay the visit. We will see that church with our own eyes. It is called St. Olaf Church. It has a green and black tower, yeah? So, and when we approach it, yeah, we will have to walk in the middle of that street. So, I have a question now. We have to play along. Let's get into this medieval mindset, yeah? You know, people don't know much what is going outside their home village, yeah? So, but those merchants, they have seen many places, they travel, yeah? And now imagine you're one of those merchants, yeah? You are from the West, where the civilization is, yeah? You have seen many cities, many tall towers, and then you decide to visit us, up north, in the middle of nowhere, yeah? You have really low expectations. And now from distance, you see that those merchants in the middle of nowhere have successfully built the tallest towers you have ever seen in your life. Would you be surprised seeing something like this here? Of course. And how does surprisement sound? Well done. Some of you as well. The rest of you, we have to rehearse now, yeah? So play along, yeah? How does surprisement sound? Perfect. So, storytelling as a science. This is what I'm aiming here, yeah? So it turns out when you have a bodily reaction, yeah? Yours is the best, by the way. So when you have this bodily reaction, yeah? Your brain doesn't know if you're actually surprised or not. But you are surprised, you're fooling your brain, and then you get the information and it wires differently, yeah? So, no worries, I will give you the cue when to be really surprised. Then you're like really surprised and then I will tell the story. Yeah, perfect. So we will walk now in the middle of that street. So we would see that church in full glory. Yeah? We have to walk in the middle of that. That's the busiest place with those funny looking horses, but you already saw how it goes, yeah? So when a horsey comes, I'm walking backwards, Moses, everybody's happy, yeah? So let us climb down these stairs. Do follow me. We can all enjoy the mural for a moment. So, it turns out when we started doing these tours, the deer statue, that was actually hidden in the bushes. So, and people didn't know why we have a deer statue in the old town. Maybe it's Bambi or something, you know. People actually didn't know. So we start promoting the story, you know. We make those movies, we get on TV shows, so everybody starts to get to, oh, really, deer fall. And this one artist attended our tour, and she was so impressed, and she decided to make a mural here. But she liked our version the most, you know. The king is turned into a queen. Yeah. You know what? You know why the lady is the king? So when you put together these stories, when you produce them, yeah, when you write the scripts on paper, it looks all like nice and funny. So we do it the first time, but the first time we did it, the guy was chasing the lady. And that was so awkward. That was so really awkward. So we're like, oh, never again. And we switched the roles, and then it turned out to be a great joke. Yeah. So this is how this tour has evolved over time. Yeah, lovely. So we will go through there. I hear a horse. No, do follow me. We will manage it. So with those two horses, we will have a situation in a moment. So we will stay on this side a little bit. We will let this horse through. Lovely. And this one will go through here as well. Come a bit closer to me. And this horse wants to. Everybody, you're very good. You go through. Lovely. So let's get the whole team together. Stage area for the audience. For the audience here. Lovely. So I'm loud and clear. Everybody hears me. You understand my accent, hopefully. Yeah. Lovely. So then we will walk and talk. Yeah, do follow me. So in the medieval times, we would call a wide street wide only then when three horses could pass each other simultaneously. And obviously our horses are way bigger than they used to be in the medieval times. So I want to paint now a picture of how this street would have looked like in the medieval times. So before those cars, before modern times, yeah, every house had stairs and porches that would bring inside the houses, yeah, and those stairs would be reaching all the way where those round stones end, yeah. And so in the medieval times, this street was only as wide as those rectangular stones. So three horses, you can imagine now, yeah. And I will shock everybody now. The stones we're walking on, they're not original. They're less than 100 years old. So it turns out when we put in sewage and electricity, the streets of Reval are rising 1.5 up to 2 meters. Now use your imagination. Take away 1.5 meters and you will see how high the living quarters would have been. When you see these doors, they look like they're taking you to the basement, but in the medieval times, these doors were actually on the ground level, yeah? So modern day basements have medieval basements underneath them, yeah? So, and the reason those living quarters are raised so high is easy. This is the north. Cold air is always closer to the ground. So when those merchants arrive here, they actually had this little light. Don't be scared, the way it looks, the way it works. When you hear a horse, you look at me. Do you see the confidence? And you see, nothing happened. I have to be honest with you, the Italians are the worst. The moment they hear a car, they're gone. This is not Italy, this is Estonia. yeah. So this is why. So, cold air is always closer to the ground. They start building housing in a manner so the living quarters would be raised higher, so it would be a bit warmer. But this little micro ice age, they call it little ice age, I think, or micro ice age. It was so cold they would take livestock inside their homes. So this is how cold it was. And now everybody, a friendly reminder. The moment we see a green and black tower, let us be really surprised. Oh, St. Olaf Church. And it turns out when we start building this church, we didn't know the laws of physics, especially the law of conductivity. When you build something very tall and put a metal cross on top of it, what will it attract? Lightnings. 11 times a lightning hits this church, it burns down 3 times, and every time we rebuild it shorter. So it turns out that the first church that was built here, that was actually 30 meters taller than this one here. And that first church, that was regarded to be the tallest towers of all Europe. Not this one, that's the little brother. And the first church, when people start talking about it, yeah, soon they realize, oh, whoa, this is the closest stages to Holy God. So those adventurous acrobats, they wanted to perform in front of God. We had this influx of acrobats coming to Reval who would tie a rope from that church tower to a close by God tower, and they would walk the rope to prove God how brave they are, to show off a little bit. Many times they fell. Did the audience smile or cry? There's a working horse. I will do the Moses, and then we will find out, did they smile or cry? You never know. Lovely.
Definitely not.
Ah, he's a working horse. So, they smile. They smile. So, in those days, everybody is religious. Yeah? So everybody believes in something higher. And they know that creation glorifies Creator. So if I'm created by God and I'm so brave walking up there, God must be pleased with me. So the audience realized the moment they exit this earthly life, this is probably the moment they will meet the management, and everybody was really happy for them. Yeah? So this is the mindset. So whatever we do to please God, to show that He has done a great job. So when I build my home, I want to make sure that God is pleased with that one. So, and that is probably the reason why those houses are still here 700 years later. Modern day people. I have somebody from the States here. Yeah, I've seen your construction sites. Yeah, those houses last like 50, 60 years, baby. Yeah. I live in an old farmhouse that is 120 years old. Yeah, and I see how it's done. It will last another 100 easily. All I have to do is change the roof at some point, so that's it. Lovely. So our next location is on the right-hand side. You see there is a flag, so really close, and then we will finish with this street, and then we will go to another street, and hopefully no traffic there.
I'm going home.
Stay somewhere here.
I live in Texas.
Texas, way back.
I have a full story with Texas.
Oh, you?
So let us start squeezing to the right hand side. This is where our next location will be. Make some space here. Lovely. So this will be the stage. This is for the audience that is all gathered here. I will go a bit more into the street so you can enjoy the sunshine, everybody. Yeah, let's warm up in the sun here a bit. Yeah. So I will stay here. You will stay there. Lovely. I want to talk about this yellow house. So I'm still working on the mental image of medieval town, Rewal. Yeah. So. You know, Soviet times, they didn't care about preserving medieval stuff as, like, they were not so... Modern day people, when they do reconstruction here, they have to redo whatever was, you know, screwed up during Soviet times. So now they have to turn them proper medieval. That yellow house, that used to be 2 separate houses, for example, at some point. Yeah? So throughout the time, something has changed here. But this house, this is probably one of the few houses that still pretty much looks the same what we had here in the 1300s. So this house, but no pink house, yeah? Then the gray house, then the white house. So it wasn't so packed, but over time houses would go inside there, yeah? So this is what I want to paint here. So those stairs bring inside the homes. So, and now this house will serve as a good example to talk about medieval merchants, silly laws and taxes. Huh? Merchants and taxes. Shall we do it? Yeah. So, this house is actually the way it looked like in the 1300s. But those first 200 merchants, they arrived here, the year was 1230. 19, the king, 30, those merchants, they're the heroes of our story. And remember, they have high expectations. This is the new beginning. They're escaping the place where people hate us, yeah? So they had this unwritten law that the way your house looks on the street side will be your business card. The fancier it is, the more business it will attract. So they started building actually really wide and tall buildings to attract business to their homes. They're way bigger than this one here. Just to show off that I'm a wealthy merchant, you can come to my house and I won't start bargaining you. Yeah? So they were attracting people to come inside. Basically, small palaces. But at the same time, the king on top of the hill, he had successfully built only one castle. And the king didn't like the idea that the merchants are showing off better living conditions than the nobility has. And now the king decides to use his right to tax those merchants as heavily as I please. So he starts taxing now the size of the house. The wider it gets, the closer you get to God, the more taxes you will have to pay. Do you know any businessman, any merchant who likes paying taxes? They don't exist, do they? So that's the same here as well. So instead of paying these taxes, they take the law into their hands, read it carefully through to find a loophole, and there was one. They realized that the king starts taxing only the side of the house that is facing the street. So those clever merchants realized we have to make our houses look smaller. So they tore down the sides, but not just tore down, but they built the houses long into the alleyway where the tax did not apply. Yeah. So they changed the dimensions. This is the city theater. It fits in 400 people and it's 70 meters long. This is how big is this house actually. So that was the first time the king starts taxing us. That is the first time we start avoiding those taxes. Yeah. But let us continue on the tax note. It gets better, I promise you. See those large windows with the iron bars? So in the medieval times, when a merchant would have had such large windows, that would have been a sign that the owner of this house is either stupidly rich or just stupid. Because every sun ray that goes through a window from the street side shall be taxed. The larger windows you have, the more taxes you will have to pay. Welcome to Reval. We had daylight tax. That's clever, isn't it? Daylight. You can tax daylight in those days, it turns out. But no worries. The original owner was none of it. He wasn't stupidly rich, he wasn't just stupid because these windows are not original. They were added here in the 1700s when this tax did not apply. The original owner, instead of paying this tax, instead of building those large windows in, he's taking the law one more time into his hands. He's reading it carefully through to find another loophole. And then soon he realized, you know what? Technically, small doors are not windows. So houses in Reval, turns out, did not have any windows. They had only small doors. And whenever they needed some sunlight, they would open up that little door with a smile on the faces, knowing that they ain't paying any taxes to the nobles. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm explaining that we had this constant battle of upmanship. Who is the best, the old establishment or this new rising class? So today is nice and sunny. Usually I skip this one story here because people are freezing. Shall I do one more here? Yeah, it's a cool spot. So we covered the origin stories now, But 200 years into it, merchants of Reval are earning good money already. The shortest way to the eastern reaches. Through the Russian rivers, they would reach Constantinople. No river takes you directly there. At some point you had to take the ships out and you switch the river, So Silk Road, they bring in good money here, And at some point, they're doing so well here that the wives of those merchants started wearing prettier dresses than the wives of the nobles.
Oh, that's wrong.
Do you think they liked it?
No.
Of course not. So they told the husbands, either you will provide us with more beautiful dresses or you will do something about it. Well, providing more beautiful dresses meant that they had to buy the fabrics from those merchants, but money never flows in this direction. It always has to flow in that direction. So they did something about it. In Reval, the nobility up on the hill, they created a very special law that stated, word by word now, pay attention, This law stated that no merchant's wife shall look prettier than the wife of a nobleman. That's the actual law. That's the wording of it. They had a list of fabrics and colors what they could or could not wear. So lovely ladies, would you like to throw away your favorite dress? Never. They kept the pretty dresses. But at the same time, they made themselves dirt ugly dresses. And while they made those dirt ugly dresses, they would leave big openings on the sides that they called the devil's windows. And while they wore those ugly dresses, they would keep the pretty ones underneath. And imagine, not too long ago, the merchants' wives are the prettiest ones around, and now they're forced to wear those ugly dresses. Yeah, and when somebody dared to make a remark about her looks, especially publicly, and she didn't like it, and she wanted to prove everybody around who's actually wearing the prettiest dress here, all she did, she raised her hand and everybody would see through the devil's window who's actually wearing the prettiest dress around here. So this is what has happened here, a constant battle of upmanship. Who is the best now? The old establishment or this new rising class? Who won the competition? The nobles or those merchants? The merchants. So now I have a bold statement here. When we looked into the history of those merchants, like in this town and overall in the world, we realized that without those merchants, humankind would have never reached the level of freedom that we enjoy nowadays. So let me explain this bold statement. Yeah? This is a Hansa town. In those days, we had in Northern Europe this thing going on. You're from Norway, you should know as well, Bergen, yeah? So they connected the north with the known civilization, basically. Yeah? So it is one of the greatest economical forces that humankind has seen up to this day. So Hanseatic League it was. Yeah? And the capital of this Hanseatic League was a German city called Lübeck. Yeah? And Lübeck at some point became so powerful it could win wars against kings. So the monarchies around, they decide, you know what? Let them have special city rights, so they wouldn't like dare to do anything. Yeah? They had their own armies and stuff. So Lübeck receives many rights, but the most important one was that if you could prove that you lived for 1 year and 1 day in Lübeck, lived and worked, you would become its citizen, a free person. So those Germans, they're clever people, they pass on this Lübeck city right to other Hansa towns as well, and suddenly we have 120 independent merchant towns in Northern Europe in medieval days that start granting freedom to the citizens. So the merchants, they're basically creating this fourth class of citizen now. Not this, you know, ancient Greek one with wealthy people, with slaves being citizens. This is now getting closer to the modern day citizenship. Yeah? Without those merchants, we would have never had it. Yeah? And those merchants, you know, the Reval received this Lübeck city right as well. Yeah? And remember what I told you at the beginning of the tour. The moment those Christianized Estonians, now peasants, hear about it, in no time 2/3 of this town's population is actually Estonian. Yeah. And that is why in the Estonian language, up to this day, we have this expression that the city air makes you free. Let me ask the Estonian, kas sa oled kuulnud, linna õhk teeb vabaks? Hey, what year are you born?
91.
Okay. So it's like generational thing. We have actually a very popular movie in Estonia, Viimne Reliikvia. Check it out, then you will find it out. Yeah. I have German tours as well. Younger generation of Germans, they don't know this expression, but you know, those 60, 70-year-old Germans, they know about it. Yeah? So we get really comfortable with the freedom, yeah. So we tend to forget that it hasn't always been like this. Yeah. So that is why we have this bold statement that without those merchants, humankind would have probably never received the level of freedom that we enjoy nowadays, because they created the fourth class of citizens. Lovely. So this house here, merchant, wife, children, family business. Soon enough, those merchants realized if we would do business together, we would profit more. How do we call medieval merchant unions? Guilds, exactly. If you don't know how it's spelled, it's written there on the door. Yeah, can you imagine? For 2 years I was asking the same question here, and suddenly they opened up a store named Guild on the very same corner. I'm like, thank you. So we will go now and pay a visit to two most important guilds in our town. They are located in the parallel street there. We will walk through this narrow alleyway, and while we walk here, please mind your step, yeah? Because in the alleyways we do the other type of business, not the cleanest one. The toilets would be leaning on the sides of the buildings. Whatever needs to be emptied, yourself or your chamber pot would be emptied into the streets. But no worries, strict laws in our town. By law, you would have to yell out loud 3 times before you did the business. So if you hear somebody yelling out loud something 3 times, it's all up to you to look up or not, yeah? But I would definitely walk faster, and I personally keep my mouth shut. So do follow me. Because what people do when they hear something, huh? Yeah, and by the way, so Estonians, 2/3 of this town's population are Estonians, yeah? We started calling those toilets Danskers, the Danes. Yeah. So you would understand the Estonians, they had this ill heart towards the Danes, the first conqueror, yeah? Not the only one, we had like 15 of those, but anyways, the first. So our toilet would be the Danes, kinda, yeah? And by the way, in between each other, we never called this town to be Reval. Reval is the name the conqueror gave us. In between each other, we would call this town to be the city of Danes that sounds in Estonian, Taani Linn. You got it. Did the rest of you get it? Taani Linn, Tallinn. Yeah. So, in 1920, basically, we started this thing going on like Estonians. So we get our own country and stuff. Yeah. So we ditched all foreign names. So Reval becomes Tallinn, Breitestraße becomes Line Street. Yeah. So we ditch all foreign names. We start using the local ones. So I think it's the German way of like. So it was like a power vacuum here. You know, we had this revolution going around here. So before those Baltic Germans left here, they gave birth basically to this Estonian nation. And now whoever wants to conquer these lands, they have a problem. They have this proud nation living here with language and culture. Let's be mindful here, we will make some space. Locals coming here, so thank me, thank the lovely guests. Walked on. That was the widest streets of the old town that we quite creatively called the wide street. Yeah. The widest street is the wide street, but this is the longest street. What do you think how we named this street?
The long street.
The long street. They're very creative people living in this town. So in the medieval times, this street would go all the way to the great coastal gates. And so you would know, whoever came in with a ship or you know something of the surroundings. So nowadays the port is like a half a mile away, but in the medieval times the sea was reaching those city gates. So it was a proper port town, yeah? The next location is the yellow building on the left-hand side. While we approach it, please notice the shape of this house. It has round forms. It is the only Renaissance-style building in the whole old town. So round forms is Renaissance, yeah? Sharp forms, like triangular, this is like Gothic, yeah? So before we transitioned into like Renaissance times, round forms were allowed only for the church. So these people, the owners of that house, they were really brave to pull off something like this. So let us go and find out who were the owners of this house. What we're talking about. We can actually be on the other side of the street in the sunshine. Shall we do the next story in the sunshine? Yeah. Fast story. We will do it here. This might stay here and this is for the audience.
It's a nice piece of information.
So you can see the house, its full glory, because it doesn't matter where I tell the story, by the house or just across it. Yeah. Lovely. The next story is pretty great as well. When we started putting together this tour, yeah, you have so many options. When you start creating like a storytelling adventure, you can pick who will be the hero and stuff, you know, which angle we were going to tell this one. So when we found out this story, it was like, wow, really it happened? So we had to verify it like with many historians, and we went around like the whole Baltics to get this story straight. Yeah, so let's get into the story then. So this here is a very important guild in our town. It is called the Brotherhood of the Blackheads, yeah? What is important to know about the members of this guild is that all the members of this guild are strictly unmarried merchants. So here we are in front of a very wealthy house full of single men. The most peaceful house in town. Yeah, you know where I'm heading with this one. They cause a lot of trouble. And one of the troublemaking humankind celebrates up to this day. So with the next story, I will take you to the dark and cold winter days. What is the most important celebration for the Catholics during winter time? Christmas. Why?
The birth of Jesus.
Hey, well done. I'm doing my social experiment here. One time I waited 3 minutes. Why? Yeah, Jesus is born, so people would know. That's why we celebrate Christmas, yeah? That's why we started celebrating it. So, the Pope is quite happy when he finds out that 2/3 of this town's population are Estonians now. Remember, Ivar becomes Wilhelm. And those Estonians become part of this Catholic community, yeah? So they go now voluntarily to the church, not only because of the beer, so they become part of like this society thing. So, and the Pope is quite happy about it until the day somebody told the Pope, you know what? Nobody celebrates Christmas up north. Now the Pope was shocked. Why don't they celebrate Christmas? It is so important for us Catholics. Catholics, Jesus is born, it brings the community together. Well, we don't know for sure, but our guess is that the Pope is shocked only because he had never been here during Christmas time. Or else he would know that during Christmas time, we receive like 2-3 hours of daylight if it's not cloudy. During Christmas time, in those days, we had this micro ice age. So this is a port town. Air is humid, -30, felt like -50. So when we look into the history of this whole region, all the way to Lithuania, it was quite common that people would actually, for basically a whole month, hide inside their homes. They would take the livestock inside and then they would survive the roughest times, and only when it's nice and warm they would come out. So that was typical for this region. So the Pope doesn't know about it, and he asks the merchants of this region to help out with the holy cause. Show the local population why and how this Christmas thing is celebrated. Yeah? So this brotherhood is active in 3 towns, Reval, Riga and Bremen. So the brothers in Riga, they gave it a thought. How could we get those previous pagans join our Christmas celebration? They think about it for a while, they want the church to be pleased with them, and then they realize, if the forefathers of those pagans went to a forest as if to a church, then we will go now to a forest. We will bring a tiny bit of that forest to our town hall square, set it up to make it a bit more festive, in hopes it will attract those previous pagans to join the Christmas celebration. And the brothers in Riga were the first ones to set up a public Christmas tree. And it was a great success. They had this proper Christmas celebration. Rumors started spreading. The brothers of Rewal, they hear about it as well, and they're like, let's do the same. We went to a forest, we brought our own tree, probably bigger than the one in Riga, and we set it up, and nothing. Basically, the only people in the square were the people who set up the tree. So we don't know what happened there. Was it cold or was it dark? We really don't know. But all we know is that they didn't have this proper Christmas celebration that all the citizens of this town would join. Yeah. So the brothers of Reval, they realized, okay, so next year we have to top it up a little bit. And then they remembered what happened at our church, that pagans and beer go perfectly together. Now, following year, the brothers of Reval, they promised free beer to anybody who will join this Christmas celebration. And trust me, in a medieval town, when one guild is promising free beer to anybody who will join, everybody will join. They want to see how much beer do they have. So next Christmas, 3,000 people gathered in front of this house on the longest streets all the way to the great coastal gates, yeah? And now, that was something. And now, together with musicians, fireworks, torches, and of course beer, they paraded to the town hall square to this big evergreen tree. And this year, it turned out to be quite a celebration. Music is playing, people are dancing, they're enjoying themselves, yeah? And at some point, one of the members of this guild, he had such a great time that suddenly he decides to take a burning torch from a side of a building. So he has this burning torch in his hands, and he starts slowly approaching this big evergreen tree. So here I am, a burning torch and a big tree. What happened? He sets the thing on fire. Up in flames it goes, and that's the game changer. A moment ago it was dark, now it's getting lighter. A moment ago it was cold, now it's getting warmer. And when you think about it, open fire and pagans, well, that goes perfectly together. So they had this wild celebration. When you read about that Christmas, that first Christmas they celebrated, that was the greatest celebration Reval had ever witnessed during winter time. So they had a blast. And the moment this burning tree starts burning low, people are getting anxious because it's a sign now. It shows us that the greatest celebration is soon to be ended. Yeah? So they want to finish up the greatest celebration in a manner so nobody would ever forget it. So the semi-burning tree, they had this clever plan. Yeah, they have a plan. So they take this burning tree, they kick it over, and this burning tree they would slap all the way to the end of the longest streets, the great coastal gates. Remember, the sea was reaching those gates in those days. And now they would throw this burning tree into the sea to put it out. And that was such a lovely sight that they decided to turn it into a tradition. So they have this tradition the first year, the second year, the third year, and on the fourth year, the first house burns down. Yeah. It turns out it's not a good idea to burn large objects in a medieval town. But the irony of the story, these guys were the voluntary firefighters in town as well. So, so the nobility noticed what happened in Reval, and they realized the moment those merchants burned down their own town, it is putting actually into danger our town as well. Those towns are so close by. They banned this tradition. So when it comes to no from the nobles to the merchants, do you think they like it? Never. But do they find ways around?
Yes.
Every single time. This is no exception. Next Christmas, we don't set the tree on fire. We are prepared. We have chipped in money. We ordered glass lanterns. We put beeswax candles in there. We light them up. And those lit up lanterns we would put on top of this evergreen tree to make it look as if it was on fire. And my dear guests, pay attention now. Probably the most important date on this tour, because in the year 1441, this is the first time a Christmas tree gets publicly decorated. So the oldest mentioning of a publicly decorated Christmas tree comes from this town. But never forget how I started this story. Which city had the first tree?
Riga.
Riga. I'm not claiming the tree. It has been always this ever ongoing war between Reval and Riga, but we are not competing with this one. So we looked into it, we checked out the dates, and it turns out that chronologically, the brothers of Reval, they were actually 2 years before us. But this decorated first story of the oldest story of a decorated Christmas tree. This is the oldest one you can ever find, and this is from our town. Yeah. So all I'm saying is, yeah, those brothers, they had the first tree, but we set it on fire. Yeah. It's a big difference. Lovely. So before we leave, let's go get a bit closer to this door. I will show you something. They renovated this door. For a couple of months we had only a picture of this door here. But the paint here in the background is original. So this door is from the 1600s. Yeah, the merchant's home, we were previously, that house is from the 1300s. Inside that house we have a door entrances this size. So 1300 this height, 1600 this height. Actually, can I have some help? This is where yeah, you come onto the stage and now turn around. So when you are imagining who created this town, yeah, 1300s, remember? So this is pretty much the size of a grown-up man in those days. This is how shocking it is. Yeah. What is the name?
Better.
Better.
Peter.
Peter. Yeah. Oh, tell your name, everybody.
Peter.
Peter. Everybody around knows Peter. Ah, like Estonian Peter. I will give you a reward as well. Hey, good job. Scary on the stage, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty scary here on the stage. Lovely. The moment these guys got married, they're no longer expected here. They have to migrate now to the Great Guild, where all those responsible merchants are. I have great news too. Yeah, I know your attention span is struggling now. This is the moment. This is the critical moment. Yeah, I've left only 1.5 stories. We will go in front of the Great Guild. I will just point it out. I will explain a couple of things, and then we will go straight into the grande finale. We will wrap up the show in sunshine. Everybody will be happy. Yeah? Yeah? You have a question?
Okay, the same question.
I guess so.
Is it related to slavery or something? Why we have like black?
Why blackhead?
Yes.
This guy.
Yeah, this thing.
Yeah,
Why do you call him
modern day
blackhead?
people are so sensitive. We noticed it like 3 years into the show that faces started dropping. So we decided not to talk about it. But if everybody agrees to find out, I can tell you. So this is Saint Mauritius. He's the only dark-skinned patron saint in the Roman Catholic canon. Yeah, he was so brave. He was a Roman legionnaire. He was Christianizing down south where there were lions, and the brothers in the north, they loved the stories of Saint Mauritius, and they wanted to show everybody we are as brave as Saint Mauritius. The sad side of it, yeah, for centuries the Catholics had this thing going on that they said that dark-skinned people can't go to heavens. Yeah, but now they have this competition between religions, and now the numbers are declining, and now they need to get more candidates into their rows to become a Catholic, and they turned Saint Mauritius into a saint as a sign that dark-skinned people can get to heavens. He was an Egyptian dude, actually. Oh. Yeah. Huh? Humankind has transformed a lot since, eh? Okay. So, are we ready to leave now? Perfect, do follow me. Let's finish strong.
That's why it's like
Let's slow down a bit. Famous door in his famous pictures. Yeah, the tour is coming together really well. So, at this location, I can always feel. For me, a great sign of a great tour is when I'm halfway through the tour and I have more energy than I started.
Okay.
So
Good sign.
This is a good sign.
Good sign.
Yeah. In a sense, isn't it? So it's all,
House is so cool.
humans are like spirits, you know?
So this is Renaissance Hotel. This Renaissance sign.
Ah, sanakkaa, ma olen vastunut kõike.
Hakkas hooaeg pihta võeti,
Vaikselt, praegu on nädalavahetused veel, aga kindaid enam käes ei ole. Ilusat päeva teile, nautige! Sebastian. Yeah. I always thought I wanted to have 2 kids. Now I'm not too sure about it. But it's already a bit more fun. He's getting his own personality already. So at this location, I want to just point out this is the Great Guild, yeah? This here. Medieval people don't read and write too well. It's all about symbols. Remember how I described the Saint Mauritius? And so people know from those symbols everything, yeah? So really important to realize if you look at this house, my question to you would be, how do you feel being in front of this big house? Small. So we are making sure to show everybody who's the biggest, who's the most important in this town. When they started taxing the size of the house, we will build our guild as large as a small church. When they decide to start taxing daylight, we will build our windows larger than the doors, just to show that we can pay for all of it. And in Reval, they had this very strict law that every house had to be built in one line. But if you look at this house, we don't care about it. So we are making an obvious statement here that we don't care about those silly laws. We can pay for all of it. Now we're so wealthy. And it turns out, good old medieval times, symbols, they work really well. The moment the Great Guild is finalized, by the beginning of 1500s, the nobility is now so embarrassed to show the noses in Reval that from the moment we have the Great Guild looking the way it looks now, they give the seat of power to us merchants. So from now on, the only burgomeisters, mayors of Reval to be elected are the members of the Great Guild. So 1230, the very first 200 merchants arrive here. 1500, they have the whole town for themselves, and together with all the other merchants around the world, they created this 4th class of citizens and paved the way to the freedom that we enjoy nowadays. that is the story, the remarkable story of those handsome merchants, the founders of the town. Lovely. And now, what was the name of the hero of our town? Thomas. So, I need one more volunteer, the very last one. A boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. Who wants to earn another medieval coin? So, do we have any volunteers here? Do we have any volunteers? Hey, perfect. What is your name? Claudia, yeah? Everybody, a round of applause for Lady Claudia. So, me and Claudia, we will take the lead. You follow us. We have to rehearse a bit.
Okay.
Lovely. So, Claudia.
По борьбе.
This is the third time you're doing this. You're ridiculous. Is it the same story? Like the same stayed in the
They don't even think about it.
I know.
Lovely. Eh? One more time for sunshine, yeah? Here. We have deserved this. So, everybody, round of applause to Claudia here. Let's wrap up the tour. Claudia will help me to tell the story of old Thomas, yeah? Believe it or not, but Thomas wasn't old all the time. He used to be a young fisherman's son with a very naive look on his face. And Thomas, he loved the Brotherhood of the Blackheads. Every time they organize a festival, Claudia, you would sneak into those city walls. And Claudia, my favorite festival is called the Mayfair. Yeah, the sun is up there, it's warm, people are smiling, so everybody having a great time, yeah? And there is one favorite competition you have, but you can't compete. Let me explain, yeah? Let me explain. So, Thomas's favorite competition is called the shooting of a parrot. So a silver statue of a parrot they put on top of a pole, and now the most important people, they would send their sons to compete. You can't compete. Let me explain, yeah? You can't. You see, the one who shoots it down first will be crowned to be king of Mayfair, and basically what it meant that he had to pay for the festivity. It was like an honor. You are a poor fisherman's son. Can you pay for it? Can you compete? Of course not. But you are always the #1 fan. You're in the first rows. It's your favorite competition. Really inspiring. And Claudia, one day after this competition, you go home. You're really inspired, and you make your own bow and arrows. Somehow. I don't know. Let's imagine you have a bow and arrow. Yeah? You start practicing, Claudia.
Okay.
You're so inspired. So you start practicing. Don't shoot the beat, Claudia. Yeah. Time goes by, and Claudia, you as Thomas, you grow into a sturdy, fine lad. And once again, Thomas finds himself sneaking into those city walls. Now you're a sturdy, fine lad. Once again, Claudia, you're in the first rows of a favorite competition. You're always in the first rows. But this year, instead of excitement, there is great disappointment. Yeah, 3 hours have passed and the parrot is still up there. It's a favorite competition. Now they ruin it all. So you, Claudia, you start stumbling one foot to another. Your hands start doing silly things. You're getting like angrier and angrier, you know. You're like, come on, guys. It used to be my favorite competition. Now you ruin it all. Just like this, something. And suddenly, Claudia, you can't hold still. You decide to jump out of the crowd. You take your bow and arrow and you shoot down the parrot with the first shot. Down it goes. Well done, Claudia. Well done. And well done, audience. Nobody applauded. Yeah. No.
Okay.
This way went silent. They realized that the fisherman's son has embarrassed the most important families, and everybody knew that Thomas will be punished. No worries. Luckily for me that I have a story to share, luckily for Thomas that he stayed alive, something has changed now. The Great Guild is now there. And remember, from now on, the only mayors to be elected are merchants themselves. And one of those mayors from that window saw what happened here in the square. So he quickly runs here, he yells everybody, stop! We can't punish Thomas, we can't go to waste such talent. That is why we have decided that from now on, Thomas will be the official city guard of Reval. So we hire you, yeah? We dress you, we give you shelter, you're a true hero. And now, Claudia, whenever you walk around the streets of Reval, you walk around with a straight back, knowing that you are a living hero. But time goes by, yeah? The back isn't so straight anymore, maybe a walking stick, so he's getting older. And he's no longer needed in the city guard, but he's needed to all our kids. Whenever they see it, they surround you, they're like, Thomas, please tell us the story, how you embarrassed the most important families and yet you walk out of it clean. So you're a kind old man with a smile on your face, you share your story, the kids love you, and you are a living hero to every single child in Reval. But time continues to flow ever so merciless, and one sad day Thomas vanished. A round of applause to Claudia! Here you go. And now I have a question. Would you like to tell their children that the hero has passed away?
No.
Of course not. They don't want to break those little hearts. So they have to come up with a clever plan one more time. So instead of breaking those hearts, they decide to make a life-size statue of Thomas. Remember, short people. Now block the sun, yeah? Put him up there where everybody could see him. And whenever our children would ask us, hey mommy, hey daddy, where's Thomas? All we would have to do is point up there and tell them not to worry, because your hero is still above us, protecting the children and citizens of Reval from now on and forever. What a great journey. Yeah. So this is what I mentioned at the beginning while we walked here. So whenever I feel at the end of the tour that I have more energy than I started with, so it always shows me that we had a great. So this is how it works. And I hope you all saw something. It's all about attitude, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we go around, we have this good attitude, and everybody's like really chill towards us. Like they're smiling, they're enjoying themselves. Yeah. So I have noticed with every great group that comes together, whoever finds this sound, whoever finds this tour, that we add positivity to the streets of Rewal. So I will thank you now that you have found this lovely town, that you have found our tour, and that you have helped me to add another layer of positivity to the streets of Rewal. So thank you everybody. Have you noticed I stumped my feet? I forgot to tell you this thing. So medieval people didn't clap like this. This is Renaissance. Medieval times, if you would clap like this, we would chase you away. Probably something is going on here, yeah? So medieval people, they either use the fists against the table instead of clapping, or they use the feet, and they're really happy. They're like... So this is why I do it, just explaining it. Yeah. And this is how a merchant would have looked like. Oh, I didn't tell you this one. It's a good joke. First 2 years, you know what? This was my hat from the first 2 years. This is what they thought medieval looked like, yeah? So 2 years into it, our tour becomes quite famous. So we have groups like 20, 30 people. One day, one Estonian lady approached me while I was on a tour with a group. Yeah, in English, so everybody would understand. And she was like, you know what, I've seen your tour, it's pretty good, but I have to be honest with you, you look shit. In front of my guests. And I'm like, what is going on here? What a surprise, what is happening now? And then it turned out that that lady is the only person in Estonia with a doctor's degree in medieval fashion. And she liked our tour so much that she and her friends, they made us proper authentic medieval outfits. So this is how a merchant would have looked like, yeah? We have pants like this and everything, yeah. So this summertime looks really cool. We have like vest, linen shirts, a lot of strings to tie, you know. So yeah. So you would know. The times we covered now, this is how merchants look like, but way shorter. Whew. And now to the most difficult part of the whole tour, but the most rewarding. Yeah, it is me doing the hat trick. Yeah. So the hat trick, the way it works, you can leave behind whatever you want. We had a great time. No strings attached, no spiels here, no twisting, nothing. Yeah. And I'm not even looking into the hat. This means when we do the transaction, I'm looking you in the eyes. Yeah. So you will give me the opportunity to thank you. Yeah. So this is like, you know, politeness. So we have a couple of rules more. When we finish the hat trick, only then I will start answering questions. Maybe somebody is late somewhere, so it is like, it would be polite to let's finish the hat trick and then I will answer the questions. And there is always this question sometimes, they want to pay by card. Yeah, I'm a clever merchant. Yeah, the ATM of the bank that I use is just there. So this is how easy it is. Lovely. Okay. Okay.
We didn't need to run there.